Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Deacon, and welcome to my incredible podcast. Now, before we commence any further, do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your boys, recommend my channel to everybody that you know, follow me on Instagram, smash that bell notification button, and of course, as always, enjoy. Let's get started. Our top story today shall be the 2020 presidential debate. That's right, it is the fight to the death as to who shall be elected as the president of the United States. Now, who do you think will win? Do you believe that Trump shall reign supreme for a second term? Or do you believe that Joe Biden will defeat this beast of a president that we have at this present time? Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a man who is a Trump supporter. But of course, I do not consider myself biased or ignorant. I am more than willing to give every single one of you the opportunity to voice your opinion on the comments section below this video, because I do care about all of your opinions, regardless if you are a left-winger or a right-winger. Matter of fact, up to a certain degree, I do not care if you blow up on my comments section below this video with your opinions. All I ask is you keep your opinions professional and straight to the point. In addition to this, I want all of you to understand that I will not be discussing about the first debate, because of the simple fact that I would say over 70% of that debate consisted of both contenders just jumping at each other's throats, resorting to scolding, name-calling, and things of that nature. Like, these two gentlemen are competing against each other. Matter of fact, fighting against each other to run as president. And these two resort to telling each other to shut up, or Trump saying to Biden, don't ever use the word smart with me, or not answering questions with straightforward answers, or just constant interruptions. I need all of you to understand that our president was not only trying to talk over his opponent to the extreme degree, but he was trying to cut off the moderator, who is the guy that makes the rules. He's the guy that tells the contenders how this debate shall be conducted. Ladies and gentlemen, as much as I like Trump, I don't think we need to hash out the basic rules as to how a debate should be conducted. This ain't how to debate 101. This is a fucking presidential debate, and you have fucking Joe Biden saying to our president, like, will you shut up, man? So with all that said, this podcast episode shall be discussing about the final presidential debates, and I will have to assume that most of you have watched all of the debates. Now, here's how we shall conduct this podcast episode. Due to YouTube's strict copyright laws, I must transition into what I like to call storytelling mode. This is where most of the time I shall use screenshots in order to go into concrete details about certain portions of the debate. And other times I will be using very short clips detailing other moments of the debate. In addition to this, I will mention only the most essential segments of this debate, not all of them. So with that said, this is the debate between Donald John Trump versus Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Let us begin. Alrighty, let's dive right into it. So the first question that was asked by the moderator was,
how would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis?
So our president claims that the vaccine is now ready and will be announced within weeks. In fact, the military plans to initiate what's known as Operation Warp Speed, which is an assignment where the military will be the ones distributing the vaccine. Of course, let's not forget that our president, the first lady, and more officials did indeed come into contact with COVID-19. He was given the vaccine, and as we can see, he is now fully recovered, which does show some good signs. It does indicate that we may have some hope that this vaccine will do a lot of good for us. He also mentions that we are making more ventilators and distributing these tools all over the world. As for Joe Biden, he encourages that wearing masks should be mandatory on all the states and make sure that everybody goes through the rapid test to detect whether or not someone has COVID, and reopening businesses and schools safely. These are the things that Joe Biden encourages, despite the fact that he bashed our beast of a president for not having a plan, in which Trump just said what his fucking plan is. I don't know if Biden was not listening and Biden just kept bringing up this specific fact to all families out there, that there's at least one empty chair in the kitchen table in each of our families. Look, Joe Biden, I say this. We all have eyes. We can see that many families have at least one empty chair because they lost one of their own to COVID. But fucking stop bashing our president. I don't think he did a bad job. Matter of fact, I agree with our president when he said to Biden, if Joe Biden was to be president, and if Biden was to handle the COVID situation from start to finish, we would have lost more than 200,000. Matter of fact, this was said during the first debate. And by the way, just look at how fucking slow you speak and the fact that you're bashing our president for not having a plan. Mask mandates, rapid testing, reopening schools and businesses safely. Like, that's all you got? Here's the least you can do. How about you stop bashing our president by saying things along the lines of, he has no clear plan and there's no prospect. And just step up to the fucking plate and actually show us that you could do a better job than Trump, in which I don't think you could do a better job than Trump. I'm just saying. Let's advance to the next question. So for the next question, the moderator mentioned that 40% of Americans would take the vaccine if it's approved by the government. So she asked both contenders, what steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved? So Biden's response was, let the people see the results and therefore know the results firsthand when the vaccine is injected into you. So despite the fact that Biden just kept on going saying that the president has no clear plan, the president did bring up the fact that the only thing Joe Biden talks about are lockdowns and shutting down the nation overall. However, the president believes that we can recover by reopening as much as we possibly can. In response to that, Biden just kept on fucking going, claiming that people are learning to die with the virus, having an empty chair at the kitchen table. Listen, Biden, do you have any new material, or are you just going to say the same thing? Let's not forget this one fact, and this is something that President Trump said during the final debate. It's not the president's fault that this happened. It's China's fault that the virus broke out of their country and affected the whole world. So to you, Joe Biden, I say this. If you believe that you could have done a better job than Trump, which I don't think that would have been possible, I think you would have killed this whole country and doomed us all. Then fucking stop telling our people that Trump has no plan and that we don't panic. He panicked. You're trying to run for president and you can't even come up with a better plan than Trump? Or better yet, do not fucking tell our president that he shouldn't have closed borders to China and then sometime later telling him that he should have closed everything earlier. Well, anyway, let's advance to the next question. So for the next question, the moderator mentioned that Joe Biden supports shutdowns if the scientists recommended it. And she goes on further to ask, and I quote, what do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact of the economy, the high rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus? So Biden believes in his infinite wisdom that he wants to shut down the virus, not the country. And he suggested that Trump is the reason why the country will have to shut down in large segments, i.e. schools, businesses, and so forth. My response to that would be, how the fuck does that make sense? Remember, we cannot control the actions of this virus. We cannot control the fact that this virus seems to mutate on its own. It's almost as if the virus has a life of its own. And that's a scary part. But the one fact that scares me even more is that when this global epidemic first started, it's just like the president said. Nobody knew anything about this virus. Then around March of this year, that's when President Trump came onto the news and issued lockdowns and stay-at-home orders. Now getting back to the question that the moderator asked, I have to agree with Trump when he said that the only thing Biden talks about are shutdowns. And when you do that, people will die and will not progress and grow. Democrats all around California, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and more states are shutting down many segments in their states. And that's simply not the way we should all go. Pure and simple. Let's advance to the next segment. So for the next question, the moderator asked President Trump, and I quote, you've demanded schools open in person and insist that they do it safely, but just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after the coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families? So this is where President Trump mentions that we cannot keep our nation closed and that depression is skyrocketing all the way up.
All the way up. All the way up.
suicide rates are soaring, people losing their jobs and so forth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say something, and I need to make sure that your eyes and ears are wide the fuck open. Both of these presidential contenders have a constant tendency of trying to dodge the moderator's questions by bringing up different topics altogether, especially Joe Biden. He's been repeating the same thing countless times to the point where it's starting to piss me off. I just needed to get that main point out there. Getting back to the subject at hand, Biden responds by saying that we want to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, in which he meant that he wants to open, just doing it safely. I understand where Joe Biden is coming from, but here's what he said to the teachers who are scared for their lives out there. Check out this short clip.
By the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
This fucking politician had the nerve, let alone the indecency, to actually say to these teachers who are scared for their lives, not that many of you teachers are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on. This guy has never been in the teacher's position ever before, where these teachers wake up every single morning within the weekdays, go to school, and teach young souls and minds every single day. Just imagine the stress that these teachers have to endure every day. Now take that and multiply it exponentially by 500 because of the coronavirus. This is what these teachers have to go through every single solitary day. And this wasn't the first time the teachers had to push through a dangerous epidemic. Back in April of 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president to the Obama administration, the people were faced with a crisis known as H1N1, or otherwise known as the swine flu. According to Politico, 60 million Americans got infected with the flu, but the flu only killed off over 12,000 people. Even though the swine flu is not as deadly as the coronavirus, I'm gonna have to side with President Trump of the simple fact that if Joe Biden was to be put in charge with what the president had to do, he would have killed off millions of people, not 200,000. Well, anyway, let's advance to the next topic. Now, for the next question, the moderator begins to shift the debate into national security, to which she asked both contenders this question. Top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voting registration information, these officials say, and Iran is sending intimidating messages to Florida voters. And she asked, what would you do to put an end to this threat?
I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price.
Okay, Mr. Vice President, sir, how about you answer the fucking question the moderator just asked you?
This election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved, Iran is involved.
Mr. Vice President, how about a fucking answer to the question that the moderator just asked you? If you say they're going to pay a price, it's like, okay, how? Go into details. I don't really care if that's classified information because the American people have a right to know how this will be executed.
But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election.
That's strike three right there. Before we advance to the next question, I'll make this one quick. President Trump's response to this was that he claimed that Joe Biden received $3.5 million from Putin because he was friends with the former mayor of Moscow. No wonder Joe Biden has some explaining to do. Let's advance to the next question right now. Here we go. Now, before we get to the next question, I'll make this one quick. President Trump had to go through a federal investigation for 3 years. Democrats, the feds, and other people spent $48 million going through everything that was under Trump's possession, and guess what the investigators found? Absolutely nothing. And one of my favorite moments was when Trump said this to Biden.
I guarantee you, if I spent $1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong because...
Now, on to the next question. Despite the fact that Joe Biden kept bringing up the fact that our president did not release his taxes countless times, which is just business, it's nothing personal, the moderator asked both contenders this question. President Trump said that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were president, would you make China pay? And she asked specifics. What would that look like? So, despite Joe Biden accusing Trump of being the reason why China's deficits went up, not down, he encourages China to play by the rules in regards to the coronavirus and you know what? Just fuck it. As soon as Joe Biden opened his fucking trap about B-52s, B-1 bombers flying through China waters and accusing Trump of embracing people like Putin, Xi, and North Korea, poking his fingers at the eyes of our allies, it took me less than 10 fucking seconds to literally get lost in a time warp. Like, I had no fucking clue what Joe Biden was talking about because his fucking answers had nothing to do with what the moderator asked these contenders. Unfortunately, the same thing goes to Donald Trump because some of his answers, not all of them, had nothing to do with the moderator's questions. So with that said, let's just advance to the next fucking question. Let's just hit it. Now this one's going to be short. The next question shall be about North Korea. So the moderator mentions that President Trump met with Kim Jong-un several times and that recently North Korea rolled out its biggest ICBM as they continue to expand their arsenal of nuclear weapons. By the way, for those of you that do not know what ICBM stands for, it stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. It's like a big fat ass nuke. Therefore, she was motivated to ask this question to the president. Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you forged, meaning with, North Korea? So President Trump claims otherwise and said that there is currently no war between us and North Korea. If we were to go to war against North Korea, it would be a nuclear war. Even though I am pleased to see that Joe Biden knows that North Korea is a problem, Biden believes that by moving our missiles up close, we can put North Korea at bay and control them. And my response to that would be like, good luck on that, because they do not seem like the type of guys that would back down on anything. So with that said, let's advance to the next question. Now this next question shall be concentrating on the people's health care. So the moderator mentions that over 20 million Americans get their health care through the Affordable Care Act, and that this is headed to the Supreme Court, in which the Trump administration is advocating the court to overturn it. She also said that if the Supreme Court succeeds in overturning this law, the 20 million Americans that are currently under this act could lose their health care as fast as the speed of light. So she asked both contenders this question: what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? So President Trump mentions that he terminated the individual mandate through the legislature, which was initially part of Obamacare. For those of you that do not know what this is, I shall explain this. The individual mandate was part of the Affordable Care Act, which required that most legal residents and citizens have health care. And if you didn't obtain health insurance up to a certain deadline, you would be penalized for it. He is also hoping that his plan would protect those with pre-existing health conditions. As for Biden, he wants to transform this into what he calls Biden Care. Going into concrete detail, he wants to provide a public option.
If you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled.
In addition to this, he also plans to reduce the premiums and drug prices. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us wrap this up by getting some messages across, alright? The number one main message that I need to get across is this. I hope you're listening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, whenever you are in a debate of any kind, do not, I repeat, do not talk in circles and start bouncing from one topic all the way to another, because that's exactly what these two did throughout both of these debates, especially during the first debate. I believe that only one clip will tell you how the first debate went.
New Supreme Court Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Personally, I believe that Jim Carrey did a splendid job playing as the vice president.
Can I respond to that, Chris?
Will you just shut up?
In my opinion, I believe they may have exaggerated this debate by a little, but the SNL version was still hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I still love the fact that Alec Baldwin still does a great job playing as Donald Trump. Getting back to the subject at hand, never speak in circles during a debate. It gets frustrating. That's number one. Number two, never resort to telling somebody to shut up or saying shit like, don't ever use the word smart with me. Like, don't do that. That's unbecoming and unprofessional. I'm just saying. Number 3. I understand that there will be times when you have the urge to interrupt the other debater because you believe you have a greater message you need to get across. Just don't go overkill on interruptions. Number 4. To Joe Biden, I say this. Stop fucking saying that our president does not have a plan, and how about you step the fuck up and actually do something? Show us something. But nope, it's just like the president said. Politicians like you are just talk, but no fucking action. And I hope you do not become president, because judging by how you handled the swine flu crisis, you could have killed us all back when the COVID crisis first started. And you will still fucking kill us if you become president. I'm just fucking saying. You're a crook and a liar. Number 5. To you, Joe Biden, here's another message. $3.5 million you received from Putin. How about you donate that fucking money to charity or to people that actually need that kind of money? Because you already have enough fucking money. You've got some explaining to do. Number 6. Another message to you, Joe Biden. You support lockdowns? That's not gonna help. That's just gonna slow down our progress. Jobs will be lost at the speed of a finger snap as soon as you close something. Don't fucking do that. Number 7. Do not come out on fucking television and tell these teachers not that many of you are gonna die, so don't worry about it. Come on. You've never been in their fucking position at all in your entire fucking life. How can you possibly understand what they have to go through on a regular basis? I do not know about any of you ladies and gents, but in my personal opinion, I truly believe that President Trump shall reign supreme and will run for a second term. I do not believe that Joe Biden will win, and even if he does win by a long shot, he will kill this country beyond fucking repair at a level that we haven't even witnessed. I can somewhat predict how this will go. And with all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this episode of my incredible podcast. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I strongly encourage all of you to voice your opinions down on the comment section below this video. All sources shall be named on the description box below this video, and I must ask all of you to please keep your opinions professional and straight to the point. In addition to that, make sure you Hulk smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your boys, recommend my channel to everybody that you know, follow me on Instagram, smash that bell notification button, and every single one of you have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace out.
When you leave, I'm begging you not to go. Call your name 2, 3 times in a row. Oh, oh, oh.